Hi, welcome to Rise in Vibration. Are you sitting on the fence? Yeah. And if you're sitting on the fence, why are you sitting on the fence? You don't want to make a decision until you know which side is the losing side, or which choice, which course of action will bring you the positive results that you're looking for. You could even say you want to know how to win, which action you can take that will allow you to be successful or to win. Sometimes when you're sitting on the fence, you're trying to stall for time until you can see what else is happening around you. But what other events might affect or impact your decision before you take it? Because hindsight is 20/20, and once you've taken a course of action, it's hard to switch up because it starts to let things roll. This is for everyone. This reading is for everyone, but this is really about Libra and the scales and balance and duality. So we did something similar for Sagittarius. I also did one for Scorpio. These are my notes that I plan to do a bit of a write-up for Scorpio, and I also started the video, but then this morning I decided to backtrack because I wanted to do something for Libra because something is going on with Libra, and I am calling it the curious case of Libra. Now, why is that? Libra had to deal with Saturn. These are the notes from my books, by the way. Libra had to deal with Saturn from October 29, 2009 until October 5th, 2012. Saturn had this effect on Libra in that it forced Libra to get off the fence. It forced Libra to make quick decisions without having any foresight or information or waiting for additional information before they made a choice. But Saturn did more than this with Libra. And this is why I think many Libras are stuck in this situation where they may be in what we could call a bad or less than ideal or less than balanced and fair love relationship. What happened? How did they get there? I tried to think a lot about this over the past week, and things kept coming and going, and I didn't know how to grab it and try to put it into words and try to find an example of the curious case of Libra, but I think I did. And I'm trying to take my time with this because I want to try to capture every aspect of what I saw so that it might be able to help Libra get out of this, what seems to be rut. So, this scenario. Let's say, and this is not just for Libra, this is for all signs, but in particular for Libra because we're dealing with duality. We're dealing with yin and yang. We're dealing with positive and negative. We're also dealing with cause and effect. The balance is also, the scales are also cause and effect, or karma. So, I think what happened with Libra, and a good way to describe it, is called the train, or the trains, or the train platform. So let's go. Let's say you're any person, but in this case, I'm picking Libra as an elemental sign, sun, moon, and rising. And you were forced to make a choice between train A or train B. You're standing in the middle of the platform. You're not sure about the direction, or you could be. It doesn't really matter. You just have to choose one of these trains. and you don't have a lot of time. You have to make a quick decision. And you say, oh, okay, I think I'll get on train A. Now, let's back up. When you got on train A, let's say there was a type of a stipulation, because train A is a decision. So you're deciding, I'm going to go this way. I'm taking this train, or I'm going to go that way. I'm taking this train. And when I take this train, there's a whole load of decisions, cause and effect outcome that's going to ride with this train. So before you talk to the conductor, this is Saturn, the conductor, or anyone who's regulating the trains, you make a promise. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to stick to this task. I'm going to be dedicated and disciplined and head in this direction, pick up this objective and go with it. When you made this promise, you may have consciously or unconsciously have already decided that it's a temporary gig. You're just going to do it because you have to do it at that moment. You have to make a decision and you're thinking, okay, if this doesn't go okay, I'm going to get off and I'm going to choose another train. I'm going to try to get back in a different direction. I'm going to get back on the platform and I'm going to make another decision, but I'm going to go ahead and go with this now. Now, this could be unconscious or conscious. You may already have decided when something better comes along, I'm going to do that instead. But for now, I'm going to do this. So we're talking about authenticity. We're also talking about truth, honesty, even loyalty. I'm going to give you examples at the end to kind of tie this all together because it's quite complex. What happened with Saturn and Libra? So, or the scales. You get on the train, you start in one direction, you start rolling along. And then at some point you decide, I think it's time to get off now. I see something out the window that looks more interesting. I think I want to stop in this town. You may or may not be able to get off quickly, but at some point you find a way to get off the train. And you get back on the platform. You're looking for the other train. That train B if you took A. Train A if you took B. You negotiate, you get back onto the new train. And that train is headed in the same direction to the same destination. What you were trying to avoid, or where you were trying to avoid, or who you were trying to avoid. This is what's happened in the curious case of Libra and Saturn. Because now it feels a bit like you're trapped. What happened? Why can't I go that way? Why can't I stop in that town over there? This is where the complexities start to fall in for Libra. Now, I've seen this a lot in the readings for Libra. I think I've peeked at some other readers who are also saying that there's a situation where many Libras need to get out of it. But they're so emotionally and psychologically invested in this person or situation or circumstance, they don't know how to break this bond, this cycle. What I think happened is that perhaps when Saturn was in Libra, Libra made a decision that they consciously or unconsciously had already planned to break or renege on. Or they made a decision and at some point they were tested to see how just they were, how honest they were, how sincere they were, how authentic they were. A test was put in front of them. And perhaps they dropped what they had to go after something else that looked better on the surface. They went after it. And now they're locked into it because in a way they broke their promise, or they broke their word, or they broke a type of authenticity with themselves. Let's say. That's what I said, is quite deep situation. And for me, it's even hard to grab the pieces and try to interpret what has happened with Libra. Now I think they're in a situation where it's very difficult for them to backtrack because they're very concerned about appearances. Perhaps they did make sacrifices and give up a lot, and they're having to live with the consequences in a very real and deep way with the choices that they made or the decisions that they made. And what could help them to break out of it is admitting that perhaps they made a decision that was not well thought through, and try to drop this feeling of a requirement to save face. Just admitting, okay, it didn't work out how I thought. I dropped something and I picked up something else. Why did I do that? Because what I picked up looks and has similar challenges on what I was already writing or where I was already at. So there's a lot of issues riding in this situation which are very hard to grab out and try to frame in a way that would make sense. I've tried to. Now for the past week, this is the best example I came up with. And I think many Libras or many of those who are dealing with similar circumstances, it's about putting the ego down, putting this requirement to keep up a certain persona, keeping this requirement to save face, keeping this requirement to avoid admitting, hey, I made a mistake, I did it wrong. Keeping this requirement to win and feel like you won and feel like the decision you made was a winning decision when it may not have been, would help break this energy and break this cycle, or even break this bond, or break this bind for the Libra elemental sign, sun, moon, and rising. And this is a big issue to work with. This is a deep issue to work with because it can manifest in many different aspects. It can be about a relationship. Again, it can be about even getting on a train that says, I'm okay. I don't have any hurt to deal with. I don't have any things to reconcile within my own self, within my own emotion. This and this may have happened in the past, and I feel like it really did impact me or destroy a part of me, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to get on the train that says, it's okay. I don't have to deal with this. You see what I mean? It's a quite complex issue, but I think many Libras and the Libra elemental sign has this type of karma to process right now. And if they take a step back, even if they get off train A or train B, and stay on the platform for a while and try to really make an assessment and say, okay, how can I be more authentic with myself, with who I am? Trying to understand who they are, what they need, what they want. Who they are, what they need, what they want. Not what anybody else thinks about them. Because that's what's binding them now. If I change my mind now, everyone will say I'm inconsistent or I lack integrity because I did this, and this before. And that was the obvious appearance that I don't keep my word and that I'm inconsistent or I'm fickle. So now I'm going to stick with this and make it work because I'm worried about what other people will say if I abandon ship or if I get off of this train now and try to go in that direction. I will look inconsistent or imbalanced or even unfair. So the Libra has to find a way to try to reconcile these things for themselves, and it starts with them and no one else, not caring what anyone else, even if they are with a partner now, and they have to say, well, yes, I told you this, and this, and I meant it at the time. But after I've taken a lot of time to reflect and I realized that this relationship is not really what I want or what I need, or I feel that there is an imbalance, or I feel something is off, or I feel that you're insincere with me, or I feel like it lacks love. So I'm no longer sticking to this. Even though I gave my word, even though I made a lot of sacrifices to be here, I'm walking away now. I don't care what you think. I don't care what they think. I don't care what my mom or father, sister, brother, auntie, uncle, colleagues. I don't care what anyone thinks. It's about me now. And I think this is a holdover lesson from Saturn for Libra. Perhaps they made promises way back then, 2009 to 2012, again, that they had consciously or unconsciously planned to break. And now they're trying to process the consequences all these years after. And it may not be finally resolved until the next Saturn return for Libra, which is pretty far out there. So the Libra is dealing with the karma from this now. And I think there is a way to break this, but they have to find a way to drop the persona, still analyzing issues of fairness, maybe recognizing areas where they were not fair in how they made their decision, because cause and effect, when you make a decision or you take a particular course of action, there's a knock-on residual effect about who your decisions will impact. And maybe decisions were made that were not for the greatest good of all. Maybe decisions were made and choices were taken that were selfish or self-centered. Me first. Ego prevailed way back then. And perhaps a lot of people were damaged in this or hurt in this. And the Libra is also trying to reconcile this now, or maybe on that train where they're trying to pretend like nothing happened at all, or that they don't care about who or how their decisions impacted others. Now, this clearly is not to attack the Libra. It's dealing with the Libra elemental sign and energy. So please do not take offense. Really try to understand what is being said, because this, in fact, can apply to all signs. All of us have to deal with issues of balance and justice and fairness and equity and our moral compass, our ego, ourself, personas. This is issues for all zodiac signs. So it's not to attack the Libra. It's more looking at this dynamic of justice and balance and fairness, cause and effect, karma. The scales, indeed, are cause and effect and karma, or even dharma. So take it as you will. Please do not take offense. Try to understand which train you took, what was on that train, what was the planned destination for that train, as you try to get off and get back on the platform and get on the other train. Because you don't want to end up going back in the same direction that you were trying to avoid. And I think the only way you can do that now is with some deep soul searching to try to understand where you are now. Because the past, dealing with karma, cause and effect, you can't change so much. The decision has already been taken and possibly forced really quick. Or having to deal with the consequences of some decisions that you took even back when Saturn was in your sign. But you can assess where you are today and try to figure out, okay, where do I go from here? And make a course correction so you can head back in a different direction. Doesn't matter, back, forth, left, right, just a different direction than where you were going if you already know the final destination is not where you really want to be. So that was the energy clearing reading for the elemental sign of Libra, but it applies to all signs. Thank you for joining me. I know it was a bit of a long stretch here, guys, but it is a complex issue, and I think each and every one of you will take something different away from this. But please don't let what you take away be resentment or feeling offended, because that was not the purpose of this reading, guys. So thank you for joining me. This was Rising Vibrations. I hope I see you guys back here again soon. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you soon.